Hello and welcome to Las Vegas Pitch. We are going to have a fun conversation today with TrinaMarie Shaw.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk all about real estate, what's going on today in today's world with buyers and sellers and all that. So TrinaMarie, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, Bill. Super excited to hang out with you today.
Absolutely. It's going to be a blast. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the marketplace right now. We've got high mortgage rates. People are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to wait to buy. What are you hearing out there?
I think it's easier for people to say, I'm going to wait to buy, right? Because it's already a scary process.
Yeah.
So, I always say, when you can buy, you buy, because you never know what the market's going to look like. Just make sure you stay within your budget.
Right.
You're always going to need a place to live, right?
Always need a place to live.
Always need a place to live.
But there's some people who can actually afford to buy, but they're uncomfortable with the payment right now.
Right.
So they're kind of holding off. Are you seeing sellers help buyers right now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If an agent, and I know I make sure I do this, I always prepare my sellers that, hey, in this market right now, look for the buyers to ask for seller contributions.
So sellers are definitely willing to provide closing costs.
2,000% because they want to sell their house.
Yeah.
So, and in this market too, it wasn't like how it was, in 2010, 2012. Sellers have equity in their home.
They're
They're not pulling
right
money
now,
out
right?
as quickly like
exactly.
they did before.
Right.
So it's much easier to ask for sellers contributions.
Right. Now you've been in Las Vegas for 23 years.
Almost
so you've
24.
seen a lot of growth here and the real estate side and Mrs. Nevada 2022.
Yes.
How awesome was that?
Thank you.
Yeah. So you've been around Las Vegas. Do you see the growth of Las Vegas continuing?
Oh,
despite all the craziness going on?
So absolutely, to answer your question. And a fun fact is that I came out here, wanted to obtain residency for a year and then go to school and then go back to California.
Go back to California?
Southern California.
Okay.
Yes. And then the cost of living, no state taxes. It was so
Welcome to Las
exciting.
Vegas.
I got sucked in and I love Las Vegas. I don't see myself relocating anywhere else, to be honest with you. And at that time, when I said no, the transformation of Las Vegas is just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
unbelievable what's going on
oh
here.
my gosh. And we're not even done.
Right.
There's still, we have the Major League Baseball team coming.
Right.
And then they're talking about a NBA basketball team. It's just, and then I don't know what else after that. There's always something.
There's going to be something. We're always talking about this. Our friend Robert behind the scenes here. We are so team Vegas.
Yes.
It's so much fun. But let's get back to some of the buyer hesitations, the fear of the buyer. And there's a 2-1 buy down. Are you seeing that happen quite a bit now that sellers are offering that to buyers? To help mitigate the mortgage?
Oh, absolutely. They understand. And if they understand if they want to sell the house and the interest rates are high, right? Let's be honest, that they're going to have to help the buyer be able to buy down that interest rate. And the 2-to-1 buy down, and there's other types of buy downs as well, is the best way for buyers to navigate that. So I tell buyers, let's take advantage of it. Why not?
Yeah. And the seller pays for it. So for a buyer, 2-1 buy down is, in simple terms, it buys down the interest rate 2% in the first year, 1% in the second year, and then it goes to the market rate as of today. And the goal, so for example, let's give an example. If the interest rates today were 8%,
yes,
a 2-1 buy down would bring the interest rate down in the first year to 6%. So it'd be 6% in the first year, 7% in the second year, and then it would go to 8%. The goal is to refinance in the next 2 years as inflation comes down and all that. And it's a good way to give the buyer some time, buying time for the buyer to actually see interest rates drop.
And you can elaborate more on this, the difference between that 2-to-1 buy down today versus the ARM, 10 years ago.
Yes.
Explain a little bit the difference, because I think that a lot of times people get a little bit nervous because they don't understand that, no, the rest of the 28 years, it's still going to be this interest rate if nothing else ever happens. And you have to be qualified, right?
Yes.
For that initial 8% interest rate.
Correct. So you qualify at the higher interest rate, but you get that lower interest rate in the first 2 years.
Yes.
Different than an ARM, where an ARM will start low and then they have adjustments that can go quite high.
Yeah.
if
And you don't
have
know
it
what
for
it's
the
going to
long
be
term.
either, right?
No, you
It
don't
depends on
always
what
know.
the market. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's caps on it, but at many times it can go up 5% above the
Right.
market.
Yeah.
So it can be very, and there, the ARMs right now, there's some ARMs coming into play, but the way the market is right now, it's just not that attractive.
Yeah, I am not a proponent of the ARMs because I like to kind of know what my mortgage is going to be every single month. So to know like, okay, the first year I'm going to get that 2% discount and then the next year is 1%, is great because I already know that I qualify and can pay for the 8% interest rate, just as an example.
And I think really, the forecasters are really predicting that interest rates will come down in the next probably 9 to 18 months. And so we'll see. You never know what's going on with the market, but it is a little bit of a calculated risk to get into that. But my opinion is if the seller is paying for it,
why not?
Why not?
Why are we waiting?
Yeah. And what do you think will happen to property values when rates drop?
Oh, they go up.
They go up a lot. They can go up a lot.
Yes. The rates, people are like, oh, I see it at the prices are coming down. I'm like, yeah, because the interest rates are so high. Right. So they have to kind of balance each other out a little bit. People don't take that into consideration. They're like, oh, the market's gonna, crash and all these fears. And let's be honest, like neither of us know for sure what's even going to happen in the next 10 minutes, right? So honestly, there's been some,
in this world, right?
Yeah.
You
have no idea, but you can't live your life in that fear.
Right.
All you can do is, and I try my best, even for myself, is focus on the facts. Because if you focus on the facts, then it's easier to navigate through life.
Yeah.
Right? Because our emotions will steer us into that fear category or umbrella where you don't move because you're afraid of what it's going to look like. But with the 2-to-1 buy down, I love it because you know what it's going to look like in 2 years.
Yeah.
And for the rest of the 28 years of the mortgage, if you never refinance, you'll be able to refinance. I'm pretty sure. I'm not a mortgage loan officer or mortgage expert, so to speak. But I do know how the market goes. It goes up, and then it goes down, and it goes up some more, and it goes down. I mean, that's just life in general.
Yeah. And talk about how supply of homes right now is impacting the market and why it might be a good time for buyer really to step in right now prior to rates dropping.
So Las Vegas, I'm going to speak particularly to that. Las Vegas, honestly, we still don't have enough
There's
houses.
not enough inventory.
Yeah, there's still not enough inventory on the market. And when you think of supply and demand, normally prices will go up because there's not enough supply for the demand.
Yes.
Another bonus though, right now, because the interest rates are so high and people should be taking advantage of sellers paying, to pay towards that.
The seller is paying for the closing costs.
So why not take advantage of it so that you can get into the home? Because at the end of the day, I do believe in building your own wealth and generational wealth, and real estate is one way to do that, right? So if you're renting, then you're helping somebody else build their wealth.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
Right. I love what you say. But I can't remember what you say. So I'm going to let you say what you say.
I turn renters into homeowners and homeowners into investors.
Renters into homeowners and homeowners into investors.
Yes.
To build generational wealth.
Build generational wealth.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the key is stay within your budget.
Yes.
And the other thing that I say, I don't know if you remember, but I always say I hate when it's a first-time home buyer and realtors would say, oh, let me help you find your dream home. I hate that. Let's be honest. Your first house usually is not your dream home.
That's right.
It's a starter.
It's a starter home. All right. So last words, TrinaMarie, someone jumping into the market as a buyer, what would you recommend they do?
First thing is you want to make sure that you are working with professionals that are very knowledgeable with the current market. Yes. So, you want to make sure that you're picking a realtor that's just not a friend or a family member. I'm going to be honest, just because they have their license does not mean that they're paying attention to the market.
Right.
And then you want to prepare. So you want to make sure you're working with another professional that has been doing it for how many years?
30. Coming up on 31. I know it's a long time.
Okay. So knowledge right here, knowledge is key. So you want to make sure that you're working with two professionals who are working in this industry full time, because the market does change.
It does.
And our job is to help guide you. That's what I feel like. I'm like, let me just paint the picture, tell you what your options are, and then you prepare.
Yeah.
Bill will definitely help you prepare.
Get educated, understand what
Yeah.
you're getting into.
And if I may, share some ways that you help your clients prepare to purchase.
So much of it boils down to three things. We call it credit, income, and assets. It's like a three-legged stool. You need all three legs to make a stool stand. You need those three things in order to get a mortgage. So it's just education, just making sure. And sometimes it's just trying to figure out what's the best program. And right now, we're trying to keep closing costs to a minimum, because at some point they're going to refinance. And if we can minimize those closing costs right now, that's the way to go.
That's way more money in your pocket.
More money in your pocket. Well, TrinaMarie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
Las Vegas Pitch.
Yes.
We'll see you next time on Las Vegas Pitch. And remember, Las Vegas Pitch every Wednesday, Summerlin one week and Henderson the next week. Go to lasvegaspitch.com and check it out. Bye, everybody.